Hello, Miss Walsh here. All right, we're going to do another toughie. This one is from Economics and Business, November 23. You can see it's a paper 2 and question 5. Another last question on the exam, and it's 19 marks. So you're looking at like pretty much a quarter of your paper 2. Paper 2. That's a lot. Okay, let's look. Howell Industries, international company, sells travel mugs. Market research predicts that the average number of mugs they will sell is modeled by this equation. Okay. Where X is the selling price. Okay, so depending how much you charge, then that's how many you sell. And the equation itself makes sense to have like a negative slope because the more you charge, the less you're going to be selling. Alrighty, find the average number of mugs that this model predicts the Howell Industries will sell at this price. Oh, a salesperson suggests that Howell Industries should sell at 16 each. Okay, well, what's going to happen? So average number of mugs. Well, how many mugs are we going to sell if we charge 16? 1, 2, 3 minus 1,000 times 16. Just go ahead and type it in. I blocked my calculator here. I did it on purpose because I'm actually going to need the space. So 20,000 minus 1,000 times 16 is 4,000. I already have it on my calculator because I messed up the question. So this is another take of the video. The messy reality of life. All right, good. So yeah, we would sell not, yeah, this is not euro. This is, we would sell 4,000 mugs. Okay, calculate Howell's average monthly income before any expenses at the selling price. Okay, average monthly income, that's basically your revenue function, right? Well, just think about how much would they bring in? What would be your revenue? Well, you would be charging 16 euro and then you would sell 4,000 mugs. Again, that is tricky, isn't it? So then what you're going to do is just take your price, multiply it by 16, and you are then at, this one is euro, 64,000. So far, so good. All right. Hence, write down R of X that can be used to predict the industry's average monthly income before expenses at any selling price. Okay, so they're using Rx because it's revenue. And then remember what revenue is, right? Revenue is, so it's like basically the price that you're charging times however much you're however many units you're making, right? So that's what they're trying to have you develop. Remember, these questions, they're like a story, right? So they had to find the N and then they had to find you R, and now they're getting you to generalize it, okay? All right, well, what are they doing? They want it at any selling price, so not 16 anymore. That'll be X. And then we have the N expression, okay? So then this is going to be 20,000, 1,000, X, okay? I am going to simplify. At some point you will have to. And so here you would have your expression for how much you're bringing in, just your revenue, is 1,000 X squared. Okay, great. Not too bad. All right, Howell Industries has 10,000 euro in monthly fixed costs, operational costs. So operational cost, that'll be your space rental, that'll be your machinery rental, like this. Additionally, they pay their mug supplier 10 euro for each coffee mug. So this is your variable cost. Calculate Howell Industries' average monthly profit if they sell each mug at a price of 16 euro. Okay, so the fact that they're selling it at 16 euro means that what are we going to do? So again, first they're giving you like the non-generalized. Okay, if we're selling it, so first of all, please remember your profit is always your revenue. It's how much money you bring in minus your costs. Okay, so then your revenue is if we're charging 16, we have this, right? Then this is going to be 64,000. And then our cost is going to be, first of all, we're going to have the fixed cost. That's the 10,000 right there. And then the variable cost is going to be, we have to pay 10 for each mug. This is difficult. Just like pause it and really try to make sense of all the context. I'm going smooth, but actually I remember doing this problem for the first time, and I'm telling you the truth. I was so confused. I can imagine. I just kept thinking of IB students sitting there crying, tears dropping down on this question. Yeah, we're making 4,000. We have to pay the supplier 10. So our variable cost is going to be this, okay? And so 64,000 minus, what is this, 14? What is this? No, this is 40, Miss Walsh, and this is 50. So we are having a profit of 14,000. Okay, so now in the next one, show that the average monthly profit at any selling price can be found using this. Okay, so now they're getting you to like use this approach, but do it generally speaking. Okay, so what's our profit generally speaking? Generally speaking, remember our general revenue function, right? So remember this was for any cost, is going to be 20,000. I don't need to put brackets around because it's first. You can put brackets around. Okay, and so now we are going to have our costs. So we're still going to have our fixed cost. 1, 2, 3. And then we're also going to have our variable cost. So this is a little bit tricky, okay? You still have to pay the supplier 10 euro. And how many mugs are you going to produce? Well, it's going to depend on the price that you're charging. So it's actually going to be, this is going to end up being your cost. $10,000. So I'm just checking my work here for a second. 10,000 plus, yeah. And then we're just putting in this 20, the expression for minus 1,000x. And again, pause it, like try to simplify this, right? Would you be able to do that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to proceed carefully. So again, this is our R. This is our fixed cost, C fixed. And then this is our cost that is variable. Okay, let's keep going here. So I'm just going to take it all the way here. And then x minus, like this, minus, and then 1, 2, 3, and then this is going to be so 20,000 times 10, that's going to be 200,000, and then this is going to be minus 1, 2, 3, and then x. Okay, be very careful. Now you're going to have to work this minus all throughout, okay? But keep an eye on the price. Like, look what they're getting you to show. It's not bad. They're getting you to show the 210,000, and there it is right there. There's the 10,002, so that's already good. And then you have negative 1,000. There it is as well. And so now there's the 20,000 and the minus is going to be the 10. So, you know, this is actually looking pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, I'm just gonna work in the negative. But I hope you don't mind if I just write 210,000. I know this takes a long time. Minus and a minus is a plus. Can you imagine getting through that on the exam though? You would be like, damn, I smoked that. I mean, not that you should smoke anything. Okay, maybe smoked is not a good idea. Okay, 20,000, 10,000. Good. So then your profit function is going to be minus 1,000. And then this is going to be your 30,000. Oh my God, we almost got it. Amazing. And then this is going to be our minus 210. Don't forget to always write, even though they gave it to you, that final function. We got it. Awesome. All right, let's keep moving. Okay, And so now I'm just going to jump here because I have a little bit of space here. Okay, so again, this, even though you probably would get a good chance that you're getting confused somewhere here, but nonetheless, you can still at least take that derivative. Okay, so I'm just going to do that right here. So the derivative is going to be, so this is going, the 2 is going to drop, minus 2,000, this is x. The derivative of 30,000x is 30,000. And of course, this is gone. Good. Okay, show that the salesperson's selling price does not maximize their average monthly profit. Okay, so this took me a while, I remember. Took me a second to figure out what the heck is happening. Okay, well, why don't we find what we should be charging? Remember, this is our X is our price, right? So again, in a very sneaky way, they are checking for your understanding that the derivative is equal to 0 when you're going to have the maximum profit, right? Okay, so just take that derivative and set it equal to 0. So you have 0 is equal to negative 2,000 x plus 30,000 x, 30,000. And you can solve this as a linear equation. So you can just take the 2,000 over and then divide both sides by 2,000. Or if you don't want to do that, you know, sure, this is a linear function, so we can just chuck it in. Those of us that are not big fans of algebra. All right, graph it. You don't have to see it. We don't care. And then just go to root 15, right? You'd get the same thing algebraically. So then your x is 15. So you should charge 15 in order to maximize profit, okay? Remember what the dude said? A salesperson suggests that you should charge 16. So no, you should not, okay? Because actually the max profit is when a mug costs 15 euro, okay? So dude was wrong. Mwahaha. Okay. We did that. Okay, moving on, getting there. Howell Industry negotiates the new deal with their mug supplier. Under the new deal, the supplier agrees to discount the cost of each mug based on the number of mugs purchased by Howell Industries. So now the cost function is this. Okay, n represents the number of mugs. So this is a little bit tricky because now this is in terms of n, and we don't like that because remember, we were actually working in terms of x, right? We have this expression, so you can probably see what we're going to have to do, right? All right. Okay. Find the function. And so what they want is they want the profit. Okay, fine. So I'm going to go to G here. And so this is going to be my profit function. It's all in terms of x. So we're going to have to do a little bit of substitution. And this is going to be this minus, minus the costs, right? Okay, so then we know our revenue function. You remember what's our revenue function? Our revenue function is still, we're using it a lot, aren't we? There it is. Okay, so this is going to be your 20,000. Next. Minus 10,000 x squared. Okay, so now I need to write in my whole cost. And is the variable cost still there? Okay, yeah, so we're just going to have our cost. So then this is going to be 10 minus, and then this is going to be 0.0001 per mug. And then we're going to substitute the number of mugs here, which is 20,000 minus 1,000x. So this is 20,000 minus 1,000x. Okay, so then we're going to have 20,000x minus 1,000x squared minus, okay, let's open this bracket, Okay, so if you type this in, I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. Then what we would end up with is we have the 10, then this actually ends up being 2. And then, so be careful, we're just multiplying this out. And then we're going to have plus. If you multiply this in, then you're going to have 0.1x. And so this is going to end up being 8. Okay, moving on. So our total profit, and actually, yeah, we still have the 10,000. I forgot that. The 10,000 fixed cost is still there, right? That's going to be our total cost. So we, okay. Not going back now. Okay, so there's your revenue function. And then minus, so now your cost is going to be 10,000 and 8. So I'm gonna have 10,000 and then what is this? This is our total cost. Right. 10,000 plus. Is this right? I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Should have done this separately. Damn it. Okay. All right, let's see what pans out. Okay, and then what do we end up with then? We end up with, okay, shoot. Okay, it's not this. What did I do wrong? What is this? This is per unit. Oh, damn it. Okay, whatever. Okay, let's see if I can edit this out after. All right, here. So I'm gonna redo this. La 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 la. Okay, so I'm just gonna go slow, sorry. Okay, so basically our C cost, let's go back to the cost function, okay? So this is going to be 0.1231 and then n. So what this is going to be in terms of x is this is going to be 10 minus 0.0001, and then you know what our n is, right? Our n is going to be 20,000 minus 1,000 x. Okay, so now very carefully multiplying this through, then what we're going to have is we're going to have 10 minus, so this multiplied by this ends up being 2, and then this is going to be minus minus, that's going to be a plus, and then this is going to be 1x, and then this is going to be 8 plus 0.1x. Okay, so what this is this is their new cost per mug. This is where I went wrong before, okay? So if you want your total cost, then you're going to have to multiply this by the number of mugs that we're making, right? Which is up there, and then add 10,000 to it, okay? So what we have is we have for our profit is we're still going to have our big revenue. And then, so our revenue is still that function, right? And then minus, you're now going to have your individual cost times however many you sell, was this? This was 1000x. And then this is going to be our x, and then, yeah. Right, that's it. You don't have to simplify this, okay? Yeah, that's your new function. And then they say hands, so this is G, and then they say hands, find that the selling mug industry should choose. So the selling price with this one under the new deal, what they should choose. So what you can do is you can just graph this whole thing. You do not need to simplify this at all, okay? And actually, ooh, I forgot. We're also going to have plus the fixed cost, aren't we? So this is our cost. So all of this is going to need a big bracket, okay? So again, remember, this is your fixed cost, and then this is your variable cost. And if you graph this whole thing, and then if you just find what the maximum is, or what the selling price should be, then at that point it ends up being 14.4, okay? So sorry about the middle there. All right, got through it. Yeah, so again, don't assume you'd know how to do this. Give it a day and then really try to truck through all that information on your own. It's a tough one. I think it's the toughest one in the packet, as I clearly shown you by getting confused. Bye.